Podcasting is more than just talking. It's listening. BSing with Bob Schmidt.
Retired naval officer, leadership speaker, consultant, and author of the book, Get Past the Crap, Chip Lutz, joining me on the BS with Bob podcast. Chip, love the name of the book, Get Past the Crap. I think we've all got crap in our lives that we've got to get past.
Yeah, we all have a lot of crap we got to deal with. And the reason I wrote the book was that, we hear about the people that, get stranded on a mountain, have to eat their best friend, and the person that, overcame all these obstacles to achieve things. And, for me, I was just like, what is about the average guy that has to deal with crap every day? And I was like, we need a book for the rest of us.
And so that's basically what made you write the book, is that you realize that we've all got our proverbial crap to get over and get through?
Absolutely. Especially as leaders, because not only do you have your own crap, your people's crap, you're in charge of them, but, you'd like to separate yourself from your own crap in your own life when you're, coming to work, but you can't because you're a whole person. Whether your kids are unruly and you got that stuff at home, your wife is mad because you spend too much time at work. We all got stuff we have to deal with. So it was just a book for the rest of us.
So how do you suggest we get rid of the crap in our lives? Because as we all know, we all do have way too much crap.
Well, I'm going to tell you, first off, buy the book. I've got some solid strategies in there. And the first part of the book is that, we all get handed the big crap sandwich at different times in our lives. And we basically have three options we can take when, we get it. We can ignore it, but most of the time we ignore the crap in our lives. It just gets worse. It sits there and festers and gets, worse. I've never had anything in my life that I ignored that got any better. The second option we could take is to nibble a little bit and complain. And, certainly if we're sitting there nibbling and complaining, eventually might consume it, but we're just making ourselves more miserable during the process. And even though people around us might commiserate, they're just like, oh yeah, that's really terrible that you got that big crap sandwich. Truthfully, they just want you to just shut up and take option 3, which is just take a big bite and, push through it. Take option 3, push through it. Whatever you're facing, just, face it head on. To me, that would be, maybe like shifting in a more positive perspective. A lot of times, we're looking at something, that might be negative, but for me, I try to twist around. I was like, all right, this is a really, crappy situation.
Right.
What's the positive in the situation? What am I maybe going to learn out of this? How can I find a little meaning, throughout the process? For me, that might be a little bit of the spice in there, so yeah, I would agree with you on that. Add a little spice, a little salt and pepper to my crap sandwich.
And I think sometimes just looking at it in a different light or, like you said, toasting it or heating it up or doing something a little different will make it maybe even seem more palatable, if you will.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
How did you go from being a Navy guy, a retired Navy officer, to speak and then to write a book?
Well, it was really kind of, I would say, the natural, kind of fell into it in a way. In that when I was stationed in Kansas, I know Navy in Kansas, who knew we were there? We are. But I was the only Navy in Kansas, so anytime there was a get-together for World War II vets or any kind of Navy thing, then I would always be invited to come speak. And it's pretty much the same way when I was in Milwaukee. And then I was teaching some graduate classes in leadership and organizational behavior, and so I knew all the strategies theory-wise, and I knew how to apply them because I'd actually been in real leadership positions. And I found out people spoke, and I was like, what do you mean? Speak for a living. I thought, well, that's one of my only discernible skills is I can speak. So let me try that out. So, I tried it out, and, I've been speaking for 10 years since I retired from the Navy. It's been a lot of fun.
Right. How do you get over that fear of getting up in front of a group of people?
What's funny is that even after 10 years, I still get the butterflies before I go on stage because, you never know. Every crowd is different. Every group is different. So I'm always going through best way to connect with the group. How do I, build rapport with the group? So it's really just, almost like I was saying, taking option 3, just powering through your first couple sentences, knowing what you're going to say, how you're going to build rapport, and then just, going through. And, also speaking with authenticity on things you really know. I know that the things that, early on in my career, when somebody would ask me like, hey, can you do a presentation on this? I'd be like, yeah, I can do that. And then it was like, it wasn't really as authentic because I maybe didn't have the knowledge base that I did on other things. Mm-hmm. So for now, it's, I stick within my wheelhouse on things that I know about, leadership, teamwork, resiliency. Those are the things that, I know I practice, I've got experience in, and so it comes through a little more authentic. So it helps to decrease the nerves a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chip, if you ever want anybody to, give you that kudos or whatever, I'm reading your testimonials on the back of the book, and my favorite one is Chip is my favorite. But then I read who wrote it, and I'm like, she must not have any other kids.
No, actually, I'm the youngest of 6 kids. So for the listeners, it says Chip is my favorite, and it's got Sandy Lutz, Chip's mom. And I told her I was going to put that in there. She thought it was hilarious because when I programmed her cell phone, I put my name in as favorite, even though there's 6 of us.
Right.
And so she I sent her a copy of the book, and she got it. She's like, "Oh, you just did this to irritate your brothers." I'm like, my brothers aren't going to read anything that I write.
No, they probably won't. To be honest, they probably won't.
That's what I told my youngest son, is that when you're the youngest, it doesn't make a difference what you do. You're always going to be the little brother. That's it. You can cure cancer, but you're still going to be the younger brother.
You know what? It's funny. My youngest brother is 5 years younger than I am, and same deal. It doesn't matter. He could be the first man to do whatever, like you said. And it's like you're still Brian. you're still small fry Bry. That's who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. With my first book, I was so excited about it, and I gave it a copy to all my brothers for Christmas. And I remember my eldest brother looking at it like, "I'm never going to read this."
You know what you should have said is, well, you probably don't know how to read. I could probably give you the book on tape if you'd like, if it'd make it easier for you.
He's an engineer. He's a smart guy. He's an engineer. He's just an older brother.
The first chapter of your book, Chip, makes me laugh. It's got crap. We all do. Let's go through the book and the different titles and what we can learn from each chapter.
Well, we are kind of hit on, as far as we all got crap. And sometimes it's monumental, and sometimes it's just the natural irritants every day. But, whether it's, things that I think everybody faces, but sometimes we just don't want to talk about. We think if I share this, people are going to look at me as a loser, or, they're not going to think I'm as, good as they are, So, I, like most people, have been through pretty much everything, whether it's a crappy coworker, crappy boss, financial issues with, down business, relationship issues with divorce, I have 4 kids of my own, bringing them up. I mean, just day-to-day trials and tribulations that we all face. Sometimes we don't really want to, one, acknowledge or 2, talk about. I mean, so for me, I was really, really open in the whole book about the different things that I've gone through. Just so, hopefully it would resonate with people, letting them know that, they're not alone. Everybody goes through this stuff. Everybody, and you can get through on the other side.
Page 20 says the visual crapometer scale. It makes me laugh. I mean, I think poop makes everybody laugh, and when you can actually be a professional and talk about poop or talk about crap, I think that you'll make people kind of giggle at the same time as teaching them a lesson.
Well, what I was thinking about that is that, when you go to the doctor and they ask you how you feel, and you got that little scale of unhappy face to happy face, and I was like, really, there should be like a craptometer scale on, what the crap is you're facing in your life. So I have a nephew that's an artist, and he did the custom poop emojis for me on that. So I said, this is what I'm looking for. I want one that's basically saying everything's craptastic, everything in your life is awesome. And he did one with a thumbs up. So he did a really good job. He can get a little carried away with, because he's got a real warped sense of humor. But, after a few revisions, we got it down to what we wanted to get it down to.
No, wait, talk about warped sense of humor. The title of your book, Chip, is Get Past the Crap, and you've got a picture of a plunger on the cover of your book.
I do.
I would think that maybe you have the sense of humor.
Well, we all have, a sense of humor, but he's got that brain where he'll put stuff together. And I had one of my other books was called The Lavatory Leader. And,
do you live in Kohler, Wisconsin?
No, maybe I should, but
that
one actually has a picture of a toilet on the front, and it says, leadership strategies guaranteed to get you moving was the subtitle of the book. And but he did some custom graphics for that book and some of the pictures. I was just like, where does your mind come up with this stuff? I mean, this is just so random but so hilarious. He drew a picture of me riding a unicorn, and it's just it's hilarious. Every time I see the picture, it makes me laugh. So he's very, very talented.
Chapter 2, Chip. Get past the crap with purpose. How do we go about getting past the crap with purpose?
Well, I mean, it's having an overall strategy. I mean, sometimes your strategy is just, getting, through what you're facing for the day. But I find if I look a little bit deeper and thinking about, all right, where am I overall going? I mean, basic strategy 101 will tell you that, any strategy has three basic components: a knowledge where you're at, a knowledge where you're going, and some kind of path on how you're going to get there. And so if I'm thinking about, the overall, where am I going? Where, maybe, in the end, my purpose is, my family. I never make my purpose like an individual because people are flaky, but a family is a different, type of thing as far as like, looking at it as a whole, something a little bit higher than just, one person. I can look at it, then I can look at the crap in my life and say, you know what, I've got to go through this because this is my overall purpose. This stuff isn't really as important as the overall thing that I'm striving to attain. It might be that big goal that you got, whatever, but it helps me kind of minimize some of that crap that, this is just a day, just a moment, just one little thing in the overall picture of where I'm going.
So in each of your chapters, you've got the rings, the axis, the C, the set, the possibilities. Now, what's the purpose of that?
The purpose of that is for us to take a moment out to reflect on what's going on. And I made it the acronym ASK because it goes in, it's in alignment with the book. Assess your situation, see, set a plan, see it through. A lot of times we get to the last one, we don't see it through. We might assess our situation, where, this is where I'm at. Okay, this is what I want to do, but we never take that action step. We never take that option 3 of like, all right, this is where I'm going. This is what I need to do. Actually having some action steps that you write down on, okay, well, this is where I'm going. This, and this is where I want to be. What are the steps I need to get there? And that's why, in the middle of that, I have, possibility. Because we all know what's probable. It's probable I'm going to stay exactly where I'm at unless I actually do something. But I don't know what's going to be possible if I actually take an action step.
All right, the get past the crap by being a positive thinker, and I think being a positive thinker is a positive step.
Very well put. Very well put.
Thank you very much.
Sometimes the war is won, inside our minds before we step foot on the battlefield. So, if we're thinking crappy thoughts, chances are we're going to get a crappy outcome. What can we do? And for me, sometimes I just need one thing to help me make that rapid mental adjustment so I can be a little more positive.
Mm-hmm.
So I might, if I can look at the situation positively, great. If I can't, then I need to take like a mental break. And for me, humor's the way I'll go. I'll watch a funny movie just to kind of like separate my mind from where I'm going. Like Will Ferrell, pretty much anything with Will Ferrell, his older movies anyhow, will make me laugh. Not the new one. I think it was the one with him and Amy Poehler where they ran a casino out of their house. That I wanted that 90 minutes of my life back.
Yeah, me too. That was not a very good movie at all.
No. But some of his older stuff, like Old School. I mean, I can't watch Old School without laughing. Even though I see them 100 times. I mean, it's just, Talladega Nights. I mean, just so those are the things that, I'll just take that mental respite so I can, maybe see things from a new perspective, or, reach out to those people that actually, are, I would say, positive influences on my life that make me laugh. Like my brother, it doesn't make a difference what I'm going through. I have 4 brothers. I have one that's my best friend, and, we've been through a lot together, and we always make each other laugh. And it's one of those things that just, can help me shift my perspective a little bit. And
I think it's good to have that kind of person in your life anyway, a brother, a friend, a spouse, somebody there that you can bounce stuff off of.
And a lot of people don't realize, I mean, emotions are contagious. It's a condition called emotional contagion. I mean, they pass from person to person, both positive and negative. So, I mean, you can look at it like this. I mean, you come home, you're in a great mood. Your spouse is in a crappy mood, she yells at you or he yells at you yell at the kid kicks the dog bites the cat runs away, cycled emotions. So if we're thinking about, the overall mood, you have to also think about who we're surrounding ourselves with. If we're surrounding ourselves with, negative people, we can't expect to have, a positive outlook. But if we're looking like, all right, this is where I'm at. I'm in this big heaping pile of dung. Who are the people that, are going to lift my spirits.
Chapter 4, get past the crap by paying attention. You mentioned, you walk in, your spouse is in a bad mood. You get yelled at, you yell at the dog right on down the line. How do you notice those things? What are some of the ways of paying attention to the spouse, the people in your family, the people you work with, the jackasses texting and driving? How do you notice all of that stuff?
I don't know if I have an answer for the. I don't know if I have an answer for the jackasses texting and driving. I got no control over that right there. But and just paying attention. I mean, I've had a lot of crap in my life just because I'm not paying attention to things. If I'm really paying attention, I'm really working to be in the moment with that person. That a lot of times we're so set on what we have to say, that that's all we're thinking about. Most people, everybody wants to be heard, but nobody really wants to listen. And listening doesn't have an agenda. So that you really have to just kind of be in the moment with that person. Listen for feelings, listen with empathy. Try to get off out of the script in your head of what you want to say and just be there.
So the script in your head probably told you this math equation that's got letters and numbers and.
Oh yeah, the one that I have in there. That's actually a simple equation for being quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. So if I'm quick to listen, like I said, I'm being in the moment. I'm choosing my words wisely, and then I'm monitoring where my emotional state is, because anger is one of those things that if I'm angry, I'm not hearing anything. If the person I'm talking to is angry, they're not hearing anything, and nothing good comes from that. So if I need to take a break from that conversation so I can pay attention better, it's setting those expectations. Say, hey, this is the deal. This is not the time to talk about this. Let's come back to it like in 10 minutes when we're both a little more calm. It's just being mindful of what's going on. Like I said, a lot of times, especially, you ever been in one of those arguments where you just want to win?
Every single one of them, Chip.
You just want to win. You want to spike the ball. I bet you've been in those conversations where you actually agree with the person you're arguing with. You just want to win so bad. You're just like, I don't care. I'm going for the juggler.
Like I said, I have 4 children also. Every single day, Chip. Every single day, my friend. 28 years of being married. Almost 50 years of being a child. Yes, every day, Chip.
Kids will be like that, or are like that with you, right? Sometimes you might really agree with them, but that what they're doing is a wholly bad idea, but you did it yourself. And you find yourself being a little bit hypocritical and telling them, don't do that when you did. But you still have to.
That's the do as I say, not as I do type of parenting right there.
Absolutely. Or do as I say, not as I did.
Yeah, exactly. But it makes a hell of a good story for later on in life.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at things. And truthfully, something that helps me get through some of the crap, because I'll look at something like, it was really bad. I'll think, you know what? In 5 years, this is going to be a hilarious story. I mean, hell, next week it might be a hilarious story. But right now, it's really not funny. So in my mind, I'm going to go ahead a little bit and think, what's going to be funny about this?
So what is it? What is a taco body movement?
Taco body. Well, I share in the book the story about my son, Ben. The kids always love music, but when he was about 10, there was a song came on the radio by Lips Incorporated called Funky Town. And so, he's singing with it, and he gets to start part of that song where they start singing, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. And he's just like singing super loud, so into the song, he starts singing, taco body, taco body, taco body, taco body. And, we all got examples, of, hearing something wrong. And, it happens every day at work, happens every day in our personal lives. I mean, we're talking to somebody, they hear us, or they hear us, but they hear something completely different from what we said. I mean, any conversation, there's what's said, what's heard, what's meant, and very rarely do they align. I mean, because, we all have different mindsets, or we're not really in the moment, or, like I said, we're not paying attention to what's, really going on. So those are the taco body moments in our lives where we don't really hear what's being said in conversation, or we misinterpret it.
Did your years in the military, did that help you to become the leadership coach that you are?
Well, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like anything you go through in life. I mean, every experience is a learning opportunity. And what's nice about the military, anyhow, I mean, my experience is that as long as I kept saying yes, I kept getting new opportunities, and if I messed them up, it was one of those things, all right, we messed it up. What are we going to do different, about it? And, what are we going to learn from it? And it was just, it was a good learning experience for me, and really kind of like forced me as a lifelong learner, is that, whenever I'm, doing something and maybe it's not going all right, this plan in my head was super awesome, but however, in execution, it has failed miserably. What did I not do right, or what can I do differently next time? I mean, it was And I had the opportunity to like work for some fantastic people. I mean, I worked for some jackholes too, but I just worked for some really, really good people that took the time to invest themselves in me and, you know, my success. And as a leader, I think that any leader, that's our charge, is to kind of like pay that back to people around us. That somebody invested in your success, you need to invest in somebody else's success.
Oh, absolutely. All right, Chapter 5 says, get past the crap by being pliable. Pliable crap is hard to get rid of.
Sticks to the shoe. Yeah, we as human beings, I mean, when you think about, like, do you have pretty much the same routine you follow every day?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I do. Every single day.
We all do.
Even on week, you know, the unfortunate thing is I get up at 4 during the week. On weekends, if I sleep until 6:30, I feel pretty blessed.
Yeah, after 22 years in the Navy, I still get up, 4 o'clock in the morning. I still drink, the same amount of coffee. I'd say pretty much the same routine. And what they can do a lot of times is make us, rigid. And when something comes our way, it might be an opportunity or it might be, some other crap, we negate it. So, being pliable is, more about opening ourselves up to opportunity, opening ourselves up to possibility in a lot of ways, for me, pliability is a practice. I have to practice it, constantly. I have to be mindful about what I'm doing, maybe how I can look at something differently. If I'm doing things differently and I can see things differently, I'm going to see more of what's out there than just what I'm facing with this big crap sandwich.
Have you done any improv? Because a lot of this chapter is about saying yes. And
oh yeah,
because that's a big part of improv is yes, and so you can add to the situation.
Yeah, I went through I spent a year at Second City after I retired from the Navy, just to kind of get me out of the linear mindset, and it was really kind of fun. That, one, I was the oldest person in my class, because everybody else was like 18, had dreams of being on Saturday Night Live. But I was the old guy in the class.
Let me ask this about being a non-traditional student, because I too am a non-traditional student. I actually graduate this year. I have one class left, and I'm halfway through that. And being a non-traditional student, I find that first of all, I was a better student than I was when I was a kid. But secondly, that a lot of the students look up to you because you've lived life and you've had the opportunities to go ahead and be successful in what it was that you were. And you being, retired from the military, I'm sure that a lot of those younger people looked up to you as a hero.
Yeah. Well, I'm still friends with a lot of them on Facebook. So yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. I didn't know if they looked at me as a hero, but certainly, I had a little bit deeper conversations with a few of the younger ones than I probably would have had if I was their age.
Oh, absolutely.
As far as, what they were like, going through what they were doing. And, it's like, well, back in my day, this is what we used to do.
Get off my lawn. Practice. Kind of like getting to Carnegie Hall. How do you get past the crap with practice?
As a society, we're kind of bent on being happy. We're guaranteed it by, life, liberty, and the, pursuit of happiness. But we always put preconditions on it. I'll be happy if, I'll be happy when, if I get this job, when I get this new car. But, happiness really is a practice we have to practice every day, that we have to look at those things that up our overall happiness, finding things to be grateful for can, up our happiness. Paying it forward, being, doing things for other people can up our happiness. Instead of being in that negativity circle where that's all we see is the crap that's swinging around us, step outside of it and, practice things, for other people. So, which will in the end make yourself feel better, shift your attitude a little bit, help you get past that crap. It's really, and in the book, it quotes some research that was done by a professor from the University of California, Riverside. And we're, in this really good book called The How of Happiness. But what she found in her research is that, genetically, 45% of our overall disposition in life is genetically preconditioned. That, whether a positive person or a negative person, a happy person, unhappy person, and we get that from our parents. Only 5%, 5 to 10% anyway, are circumstances. The rest of it, nearly 50% or nearly, 40% of it are things that we can do to make ourselves, more or less happy. Like, one of the things that can really, really devastate our overall happiness in life and make us even, in a crappier quagmire is, ruminating about things that we didn't do right. We say things to ourselves as human beings that we wouldn't say to our worst enemies. And think about that. I mean, I said stuff to myself that I would never say to somebody else simply because, good, just good manners would dictate otherwise. But in that vein, we beat ourselves up pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one thing that we can do to torpedo our overall happiness. So how can we shift that? We can say things a little more positive. Like we can practice gratitude. Practice things that bring more happiness to our lives versus practice the things that torpedo it.
Get past the crap with play. What do you mean by that? Just getting out there and having fun?
Well, in essence, yeah. You think about it, and I put at the very beginning of the book as far as, think about when you were a kid and they rang the bell for recess. I mean, that was the best part of the day. And, and it was like 15 minutes of unadulterated, fun for the most part. Unless, like you said those things you didn't want to say, or you should have said, and the other kid's going to beat you up on the playground. But, as adults, we forget, we're so focused on getting things done. We're so focused on, mission, all these responsibilities. We just forget to enjoy ourselves in the process. I mean, this isn't a dress rehearsal. This is it. I mean, this is the only life we have, and we should be, adding the element of fun, the element of play, the element of humor, pretty much into everything we do. I mean, think about, I'm venturing to say from our conversations, you enjoy pretty much most of the things you do. You've designed your life, for you.
Well, yeah.
Right?
I mean, isn't that the way that most people do it?
No.
No. Really?
No. Most people, they might have this job that they might not, like, and people that they don't really like, so it sucks all the joy. Well, what are the things that you can do to bring a little more joy back into, this work? It might just be as simple as, having that picture of the time you went on vacation on your desk and, you take that mental vacation. It's like, oh man, that was awesome. You just add the element of play. For me, I'm going to be more productive. I'm going to be more innovative. I'm going to, be more loyal to my organization if I'm enjoying what I'm doing and who I'm around. So, and maybe we need to get rid of, some of the confines in which we sometimes think on what work is, and not think of, work as being the opposite of play. Mm-hmm. But thinking about, how we can, bring a little bit of play into our work.
Because life's too short. And I've got this quote that I came up with many years ago. It's life's too short to be married to someone you don't love, to work at a job you don't like, and to drink shitty beer. That was my quote that I came up with. And honestly, if you think about it, life is too short, because if you do those things that you don't like to do, I get it. We all have to do those types of things, but why not enjoy the things that we do that we have control over? And if you don't like the things that you have control over and you're doing them anyway, don't do them anymore.
Right. Well, I mean, that's another thing that can really torpedo, overall, happiness in life, is trying to control things we have no control over. I look at it as like, my circus, my monkeys, not my circus, not my monkeys. All right. So if I spend all my time ruminating and, about things that I can't control, I mean, what's the point in that? I'm going to focus on the stuff that I can control. So if I focus on the stuff I can't control, what I can't control, is going to control me.
What do you do, Chip, to decompress?
Little mental vacations on, things that I like. Like I said, decompress. Humor is a big part of my life. So, I like anything funny, whether it's seeing a funny movie, funny show, being with people that are funny. Those are things that help me a lot. I also like vodka a lot.
You're an honest man, and I like that. Getting past the crap by taking the pledge. I would have thought it would have been by taking the plunge.
That's a good idea. I should have done that. Now, the pledge is just, pledging not to get in your own way. I have been my single biggest barrier to moving past any crap in my life. Whether it's, fear that's holding me back, worry that's holding me back, negative thoughts that have been holding me back, is that, I've got to make a pledge to myself that, I'm going to take care of me. And part of this book, it's about self-leadership, but it's really about self-leadership for leaders. Truthfully, being in charge of people, can be a huge, colossal pain in the butt. I mean, it is. And you really have to have a want to serve, but with that, we're still really hard on ourselves about things, and we can worry about things too much, and that we have to take care of ourselves first if we're really going to be on point for our team. That if I'm not taking care of me, then I'm not going to be on point and be able to take care of my team as effectively as I really should be. Mm-hmm. So I can be my own biggest barrier in moving forward to reach a goal, moving forward to take care of the things I need to take care of, taking care of my team. I've got a pledge to do that. And it's counterintuitive to what we say, in our society. It's like, oh no, you got to, serve all these other people first. I'm like, no, you really got to take care of you first.
How do you put it all together and get past the crap? Because I think that's a big question that everybody wants to know. How do we get past the crap that's in our lives every single day?
Well, like I said at the very beginning, it's about taking action. It's about taking option 3 and saying basically kind of like the 80s Twisted Sister song, I ain't going to take it anymore. I'm actually going to do something. Uh-huh. I'm not going to ignore it. I'm not going to nibble and complain. I'm going to do something. It might not be pretty, today, but I know that I'm going to plow through. So, that's what it comes down to is, like I said, doing something. Something always nets something. Nothing nets nothing. 0 times 0 is 0. Sometimes what I'm doing, might not always turn out exactly how I want it, but I'm doing something. It's going to take me somewhere.
I see you have your personal affirmations in the book as well. I have a choice. I can choose to let the crap control me, or I can look for ways to take control. Do you go through and do those? Do you go through and do those on a daily basis?
I would love to say that I am mindful every day of what's going on around me. I don't go through a list of affirmations every day. I'm not that disciplined. I know people that do that.
Chip Lutz is my guest. The book is called Get Past the Crap. Now comes the crappy questions of portion of the podcast. So, what's your most useless talent?
My most useless talent? That is a good question. My most useless talent is I make sense of my life through television, and I reference quotes all the time from TV shows that nobody knows anything about, but are always funny to me. And in high school, I had all the words to the musical The Music Man memorized. How
is Chip like Professor Harold Hill?
So many ways. It's funny when Robert Preston, who did the character the best in my opinion, it was such a classic, but he's just so smooth. And I don't think I'm that smooth on being able to connect with people and talk with people, but that's where I want to be someday. Go where people are as green as the money, friend, and there's trouble right here in River City.
Did that help you pick up chicks?
Not at all. Not at all, brother. We were not impressed with trouble in River City.
Get past the crap. Get Schmidt done. Lead yourself first. Bounce back. Charles Chip Lutz, the author of the book. How do we find your book, Chip?
You can go to getpastthecrap.com. Get the book. You can also sign up for some additional content. I did some videos that are additional content that aren't in the book, just so you buy the book, kind of like a special bonus.
The BSing with Bob Schmidt podcast is brought to you by Orange Computer. Find them online at orangecomputerlax.com.
This has been another podcastforhire.com production.